What if the so-called happiest day of your life is secretly the day you buried yourself under the weight of expectation, tradition, and a carefully constructed illusion of joy? What if the laughter, the music, the endless congratulations aren't just celebration but a disguise, hiding the first chains being placed on your freedom step by step, smile by smile? When Nietzsche said marriage is the grave of a man's independence, he wasn't exaggerating. He saw marriage not as a triumph of love, but as a subtle form of social coercion, a carefully disguised surrender. He warned that most men enter it blindly, trading the richness of their instincts, creativity, and raw individuality for security, predictability, and the approval of others. Every wedding ritual, the rings, the vows, the perfectly orchestrated ceremonies, is designed to create beauty and awe, but also to normalize compromise. It is society's way of ensuring that a man's passions, impulses, and untamed energy are channeled into obligations, routines, and roles that benefit everyone except the man himself. Look closely at the scene. People cheer, cry, and toast, yet no one dares to ask the question that truly matters. Are you ready to bury the man you were and become the man everyone expects you to be? The truth is harsh. Love may exist, but it often arrives dressed as duty. Excitement and joy mask the subtle erosion of autonomy. Nietzsche's warning was never about denying the beauty of human connection. It was about the danger of stepping into a commitment without seeing the cost. Most men marry out of fear. Fear of solitude, fear of judgment, fear of failing the expectations carved by family, culture, and society. And fear is always the seed of self-betrayal. The wedding day is not merely a celebration. It is a turning point, the symbolic funeral of freedom, of impulse, of the life a man once had and could have continued to shape. The question is not whether you will celebrate it. The question is whether you will recognize the chains before it is too late. If you pay close attention, you'll notice something strange. Weddings and funerals share an atmosphere of ceremony, symbolism, and transformation. But only one of them is honest about what's actually happening. A funeral admits it openly. Someone is gone, and life will never be the same. There is grief, reflection, honesty, and a collective acknowledgement that something has ended. But a wedding, it's an ending disguised as a beginning. A man steps into marriage believing he is gaining a new life, but in reality, he is also burying parts of his old one. His independence, his spontaneity, his uncompromised identity. Yet no one dares speak about this loss, because weddings are built on the illusion of pure joy. They sugarcoat the truth with roses, speeches, and carefully staged photographs. Funerals confront reality. Weddings avoid it. Funerals force people to confront what was real. Who the person was, what they did, what they failed to do, what truly mattered. There is no pretending, no performance, no Instagram highlight reel. In a funeral, masks fall and truth speaks, but a wedding is the opposite. Masks rise, roles are adopted, identities are reshaped into what society wants to see. Everyone plays a part, the perfect couple, the perfect families, the perfect future. It is a ritual built to reassure, not to reveal. Nietzsche understood this contrast deeply. He believed that society hides its most restrictive expectations behind its most beautiful celebrations. Marriage is presented as joy, unity, and love. But beneath the surface, it is also obligation, sacrifice, and conformity. A funeral exposes the cost of life. A wedding hides the cost of marriage. This is why many men feel an uneasiness on their wedding day without knowing why. It's not fear of commitment. It's the silent recognition that something is ending, even if no one acknowledges it. At a funeral, the ending is confessed. At a wedding, the ending is concealed. A funeral reveals what life truly was. A wedding hides what life is about to become. And this is where Nietzsche's warning becomes painfully clear. Society sugarcoats the rituals that bind you and tells the truth only in the rituals that bury you. Before we continue, if this is opening your eyes or challenging what you've always been told, consider subscribing. This channel exists to give you the truths society hides, the truths that actually shape men's lives. Now, let's go deeper. Most men believe marriage changes slowly. The reality is far more dramatic. Marriage doesn't change a man, it redefines him, not with force, but with expectation. At first, it feels harmless. You compromise a little here, adjust a little there, silence a part of yourself to avoid conflict, and reshape your priorities to fit the new structure you're now responsible for. But here's the hidden shift. Every compromise becomes a precedent. Every silence becomes a habit. Every sacrifice becomes an obligation. And before long, the man you were, the one driven by ambition, instinct, curiosity, and self-direction, begins to fade. Not because marriage is evil, but because marriage demands stability. And stability often demands the death of the unpredictable, unpolished, passionate parts of a man. The very parts that once made him feel alive. This is what Nietzsche meant when he called marriage a grave. It isn't that love kills a man, it's that the expectations surrounding marriage bury the version of him that was once free. Society praises the good husband, steady, reliable, predictable. But think about what those words actually mean. They are the exact opposite of the qualities that push a man to grow, create, explore, and challenge himself. Marriage rewards conformity, not individuality. It rewards duty, not desire. It rewards stability, not strength. And that's why so many men, years later, quietly wonder what happened to the fire they once had, why their dreams feel smaller, why their life feels more manageable, but less meaningful. Because something was traded, something was buried, and nobody warned them what the true cost would be. Nietzsche wasn't condemning love, he was condemning blindness, the failure to examine what you are sacrificing in exchange for the life society expects you to live. And that's the tragedy. Men don't lose themselves because someone took their freedom. They lose themselves because they never questioned whether they were giving it up. If you ever wondered why society celebrates marriage with such intensity, here is the truth. Because marriage benefits society far more than it benefits the individual man. And Nietzsche knew this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Marriage is not just a personal choice. It is a social mechanism, a structure designed to produce stability, predictability, and order. Society fears the unpredictable man, the ambitious man, the man driven by instinct and self-direction. He is hard to control, hard to categorize, hard to use. But a married man, he becomes predictable, grounded, tied down. His attention is divided, his risks are reduced, and his priorities shift from self-development to maintenance, survival, and responsibility. This is why the pressure to marry begins early. It starts with family. When will you settle down? Then culture. A real man builds a family. Then religion, media, friends, expectations. It never stops. The message is simple. A man who isn't married is somehow incomplete. But here's the contradiction nobody talks about. The unmarried man is actually the freest. He has the most potential, the most flexibility, the most creative energy, and the highest capacity for reinvention. Society can't predict his path, and that's precisely what makes him unsettling. So instead of admitting this, society uses marriage to tame him. It tells him he's becoming a responsible adult, when in reality, he is becoming more manageable. It tells him he's stepping into maturity, when in truth, he's stepping into a system designed to regulate his time, his choices, and his purpose. It calls this love. It calls this progress. It calls this the right thing. But look closer. Who defines right? Who benefits most from a man settling into a routine, limiting his risks, and adopting a socially approved role? Not the man himself. A married man has less time to challenge the world, less energy to pursue his ambitions, less mobility to reinvent himself, less freedom to question the structures he now depends on. And this is the genius. and cruelty of the system. Marriage is marketed as fulfillment when its deeper purpose is control. Even Nietzsche warned that marriage forces a man into compromise not because he wants to, but because he must. Once he is tied to a household, a partner, children, bills, and expectations, he cannot simply walk away from his obligations. His life stops being defined by what he desires and becomes defined by what he must maintain. A single man is dangerous precisely because he is limitless. A married man is safe because he is contained, and society celebrates containment. Now, does this mean marriage is inherently bad? Not necessarily. But it does mean this. Most men don't choose marriage out of authentic desire. They choose it because they are guided, pressured, or psychologically cornered into believing it is their destiny. The harsh truth is that the modern man rarely marries because he feels empowered. He marries because the world around him whispers, and sometimes shouts, that he will be judged, questioned, or dismissed if he doesn't. And this pressure works. It shapes him, it convinces him, it molds him into exactly what society needs, a man who no longer thinks like a lone force, but like part of a system. This is why weddings are dressed in beauty, to hide the machinery beneath. Because if men saw the truth clearly, many would step back and ask the question few dare to ask: is this truly my choice, or am I just fulfilling a role? The hardest truth about marriage is not that it changes a man. It's that it reshapes his entire destiny in ways he will only understand years later. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He believed that every important decision in life either expands a man's world or narrows it. And marriage, for many, is where life begins to shrink. Not because marriage itself is bad, but because men enter it without questioning who they will become inside it. A man often believes he is choosing love, partnership, and stability. But what he is actually choosing is a new identity. An identity built on responsibility, compromise, routine, and the expectations of others. This new identity may be noble, it may be meaningful, but it is also limiting. The tragedy Nietzsche warned about is not the marriage itself, it is the unexamined marriage. The marriage entered because everyone does it. The marriage accepted as fate rather than chosen with self-awareness. Most men don't lose their individuality overnight. They lose it gradually, decision by decision, year after year. Their dreams become smaller, their circles become safer, their risks become fewer, and with every adjustment, a part of their old self quietly fades. This is why so many older men look back and ask the question they never dared voice aloud: where did my life go? Not in a dramatic or tragic sense, but in a slow, quiet realization that they lived more for others than for themselves. The version of themselves that once aimed high, explored, dared, questioned, or created gradually became a memory. And here is the honest truth. This doesn't happen because marriage destroys men. It happens because men never learned how to protect the parts of themselves that matter most. Freedom, ambition, creativity, individuality. These qualities are not automatically preserved. They must be defended. A man who doesn't guard them will lose them, no matter what path he chooses. Marriage simply accelerates this loss because it introduces responsibilities that easily overshadow personal direction. Society teaches men how to propose, but never how to maintain their identity inside a relationship. It teaches men how to provide, but never how to continue evolving as individuals. It teaches men how to commit, but never how to protect their purpose. This is the imbalance Nietzsche feared. A man can give so much of himself that he forgets he was ever allowed to live for himself at all. And when someone forgets their own inner world, they slowly disappear into a role instead of a life. The final question Nietzsche would want every man to ask is this: have I built a life that reflects who I truly am, or have I become who the world needed me to be? Because there are only two types of men: the man who shapes his path, and the man who quietly adapts to whatever path he falls into. Marriage can be beautiful, meaningful, and even transformative in the best ways. but only if a man enters it with clarity, self-respect, and an unwavering sense of identity. When he knows who he is and what he stands for, marriage becomes a partnership, not a burial. But when he enters blindly, uncertain or pressured, marriage becomes exactly what Nietzsche warned about, a place where he slowly disappears beneath layers of expectation. The most important truth is this: a man's freedom doesn't end the day he marries. It ends the day he stops thinking for himself. If you learned anything from this series, let it be this: don't bury your identity just because the world tells you it's time to settle. Don't silence your ambitions because routine feels easier. Don't lose yourself in the roles others assign you. Life demands responsibility, yes, but responsibility should never come at the cost of the person you are meant to become. A strong man doesn't avoid commitment. A strong man commits without disappearing. And that is the warning Nietzsche wanted you to understand before anything else. If you've reached this point, it means you're not like everyone else. Most people stop listening when a truth becomes uncomfortable. But you stayed. You questioned. You reflected. And that already sets you apart from the world Nietzsche warned us about. The world that follows without thinking. Here's the real message behind everything you've heard. A man's life is shaped by the choices he makes before the world makes them for him. Most men never ask themselves who they want to be. They simply become whatever society, family, or tradition expects. But you're different. You're looking beneath the surface. You're searching for the deeper layers of life most people overlook. And if you want more of that, more ideas that challenge you, sharpen you, and force you to see the world through a lens reserved for thinkers, not followers, then consider subscribing. Not because it helps the channel, but because it helps you stay connected to the kind of truths you rarely hear anywhere else. Every video here is crafted to do one thing: make you think for yourself in a world that punishes individual thought. If that's the path you're choosing, then subscribe and stay part of this journey. Because the men who question are the men who grow. And the men who grow become the men who lead. Your story is still unfolding. Make sure you're the one writing it.